Well, let's get started. Appreciate y'all hopping on. We're gonna do these every 2 weeks, so the link will stay the same every single time. So I won't have to get it out. But before we do, make sure you guys get this in the hands of other referees that you know of. It's not necessarily all about quantity, but to have 13 people on here and 3 trainers, so we're like at 9-10 referees. Good for you guys, don't get me wrong, but we want to get more referees on here so the culture can change, information can get out, and then it just makes us better as a whole. So just not a whole lot of pressure on you guys, but I do like to say, hey, get this in. My challenge for you guys each week, get 1 or 2 referees to jump on here just so we can get the information out. For y'all that didn't join us last week, we went over the trail position. I thought we got a lot done in a small amount of time. I thought it was very effective. That is on the YouTube channel if you did miss it. So if you are not on our YouTube channel, it's Saboa Training. Just type that in, subscribe, and we put on all of our camp videos up there, our 2-person, our 3-person, our Zoom meetings, you name it, it's up there. A lot of good information for you. This one will also go up there as well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the lead referee. And I did get those, I'm not sure if you guys got the link. I did put something on YouTube. I tried to get an email out. I know that so did the division reps. So if you were able to look at it before time, that would be good, because sometimes it glitches on your end. But if you didn't, that's okay. I'm still going to show it. But we've got, I think, 6 clips to go over. And if we don't get through all of them, that's fine. I don't want to speed through them. But of course, ask as many questions as you have. We want dialogue. I'll probably just open it up to individuals. I'll open it to the group. And if people are not engaging, then I'll call on you guys, because there is wrong answers, but we want you to speak. Right, what would you do in this situation? What do you see? And then that's the way that we get better. And then myself, Henry, Kenny's on here. Marvin he'll be back on. We got Soupy, we got Bill. So we've got some other experienced referees that can obviously help in situations. But again, I want to hear from y'all first, and then we can help teach and guide you through certain situations. Before we do get started, I'll open it to the group. If you have any questions on anything as far as last week's, the trail, or anything you want to discuss, here's your time. If not, then we'll jump right into the clips. So I can open it to the group for about 5 seconds. If no one says anything, we're just going to dive in.
I got a question.
Go ahead, James.
Hey, I was reading Case book and starting to go through all that. And I was in that, I think it was 10-5-5, player A1 and A2 leave the bench. A1 joins in a fight. A1's ejected for flagrant foul. A1 and A2 receive technical fouls, and coach gets 2 indirect technicals. Okay, so which I understand all that, but my question is, how are all those fouls administered in the book as team fouls? Is every one of those a team foul, or how do we do that?
Yeah,
did that ever happen?
Yeah, no, it'll happen. I hope it don't happen to you, but
Right.
that stuff does happen. So in those situations, we actually had a discussion about players coming off the bench. No matter what they do, they're all disqualified. So if a kid just steps on the floor, they're gone, right? It's a disqualification. It goes in the book as a team foul, and they're disqualified. What we get into is if somebody participates and somebody doesn't, that's a different situation, right? So let's just say for this situation, 3 kids come off the bench and they do not participate in a fight. They just come on the floor, they don't do anything, but we catch all 3 numbers, and they're all going to be disqualified. And it's going to go for, say it's 1, 2, and 3. We'll keep it simple. So white, 1, 2, and 3. Well, 1, 2, and 3 are gone. They're disqualified. They're going to have to go to the locker room with an assistant coach. All those are going to be put in the book as personal fouls and team fouls. So that's 3 team fouls, but it's only 1 indirect to the coach for all 3. It's only 1. Okay. So they will not have to be ejected. However, when you get into one that has participated and a one that has not, so let's just say we have 1 kid comes off and does participate in a fight, and 1 just walks on. Well, those are 2 separate acts. 1 is participating, 1 is what? So they're going to end up getting 2, 1 direct and 1 indirect. Okay, if they've already had 1, then that would change the fact of them being ejected or not. So I don't know the case play that you had. Which one was it? Because I don't mind going through it so I can read it. It was 10-5 what? Which one was it, James? 10, because I have the casebook right here. 10-5. Situation A, is that it right there? Ejection. The head coach is direct or indirect with a third technical or second direct. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think that's a 10-5-5, I believe is that's what I wrote on my notes, but
10-5-5 or 10-5?
10-5.
10-5. Okay. So the situation is an ejection. A, the head coach is charged, and it says in the parentheses, directly or indirectly with a third technical foul or a second direct foul, or A1 commits a flagrant technical foul against B1. I don't think that one's it. That doesn't sound like it.
No, mine was player A1 and A2 leave the bench. A1 joins in the fight.
Right
A1,
here.
okay, so A1 joins in the fight. So A1 is ejected for a flagrant foul. A1 and A2 receive technical fouls. That's probably because coming off the bench, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach gets 2 indirect technicals. And I think that's what you just said, Mark, because there are 2 things that occur here. There's one kid who comes off the bench, but he doesn't get involved. There's another kid comes off the bench. He does get involved in the fight. So we have 2 separate incidences. So the coach gets 2 indirect technicals. Is that what that is? Right?
Yeah.
I got it here somewhere. It's actually like one of the first things in the book I read. I don't know where it was at. And I guess, so if a coach gets an indirect, we don't count an indirect as a team foul. Yes or no?
An indirect, yeah.
We do.
Yeah, everyone, if it's an indirect or direct, it's still going to go in the book, no matter what.
As a team.
So,
okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we could have 4 team fouls here, 2 technicals
yeah.
and 2 indirects. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If I'm wrong, from my understanding, yes. If I'm wrong, I will clarify that. But has anybody got anything different? Kenny, Henry, Marvin, anything different on that?
Yeah, we need clarification on that because it's indirect to the coach, but that's an indirect to the coach is not a team foul.
That's what I thought.
So, yeah, let's go back and readdress that.
What is the? I need to find. Is it the one that fight breaks out between A1 and
the technical foul is on the player, which creates an indirect to the coach. So
yeah, coming off the bench because you're bench personnel.
What's that?
If you're bench personnel and you get a technical foul, it's going to be
indirect to the coach also.
Correct.
But you don't penalize them with 2 technical fouls for shooting foul purposes.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the case.
It's not 10. It was. Hold on. It was like in the front of the book. Yeah, I should have had it marked. It's my fault.
That's okay.
But it never said anything about it. It explains all that, but it never tells you anything about what's a team foul and what's not a team foul.
From my understanding, tell me I'm wrong. If you have kids that come off the bench, I don't care if they fight or they don't fight. That's going to be a team foul on every single kid. Is that right? Okay.
Correct. But that's for the kid, not for the coach. It's an indirect to the coach, but the indirect does not count to the coach as a team foul, just to the players that come off the bench.
Yeah, it's 1 per 1. That's what? Did I say something different? I wasn't listening to James. I'll be honest. I was trying to find the case play. But I'm saying is that no matter how many.
James was looking for if there was also a team foul that it was assessed to the coach.
For the indirects.
For the indirect, and it's not.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No. I
Okay.
understand what you're saying now. Yeah. No, you're not going to give another team foul to the coach. Is that what we're saying? It's just players. Yeah. Players are going to get a team foul. Yeah. And then, I got you.
It's only the players. Okay.
Yeah. So I get the question now. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. You're saying if we get a foul, a kid comes off the bench, they're disqualified. We're going to give them a team foul in the book. You're saying, because it's an indirect to the coach, are we giving a coach a team foul? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's just one per act, 1 per kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Good question. So sorry, I botched that. All right. Let's get into the clips again. Hopefully y'all have seen this. Again, we're looking at the lead. So that's just look at the lead. I don't even want to talk about trail because we went over it. If we have time to touch on things like that, that's fine. But let's just dive into lead, and then I'll open it up to the group. Tell us what you see, As far as you can talk about positioning, I don't mind if you want to talk about judgment. That's okay if you want to talk about judgment. We try to stay away from that. But positioning, movement, PCAs, those type of things, primary coverage areas. This is the second play of the game as well, just so you know. Just giving a little bit of context, okay? I hope it's not choppy too much, okay? And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to see when they become neutral, because we're not great at that either, okay? One more time. Okay, anybody want to take it? What are you seeing at lead? Good, bad, movement, positioning. Two-person games are tough, and this is a 6A boys game, so it's not easy. You got to work really hard to get angles and get in good position to see plays. But anybody want to take it? What are we seeing?
I think he's too far down. He doesn't have, so it's hard to see because the trail is kind of in the way, but to me,
Right.
He looks like he's too far down right there under the basket. He needs to come out wide.
Okay.
It looks like he's ball watching as well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think he's moving too much. He keeps moving back and forth, and he's moving where the ball's moving instead of watching the players in his primary, or following the play. So it's really distracting him from making good balls.
Agreed. Thanks. Mario, what you got?
Well, it looks to me like he's trying to get position to get, not get, blocked. I think when he goes back out, he's trying to get position because he's got the primary coverage over there on the other side. I think he's moving around a little too much, but I think he's trying to get position to try to get a good view.
Okay. Thanks, Mario. Anyone else? Anything different? You guys are good. I mean, I agree with everything that I was saying, and we'll dive into it, but anybody got anything different?
When the ball goes up for the shot, he follows it.
Okay.
He follows the ball up.
Yep. I know you said it was choppy, Michael. I'm just trying to do it slow for you. Anybody else want to add to it?
His shoulders are just, I mean, they're parallel more with the sideline than they are with the end line. And he doesn't have a good peripheral vision. He's not backed away from the play enough to where he can see it with a good angle.
Yeah, I agree. He's not he could have stepped back 2 or 3 feet or, back and got a better view on that. Instead, he's looking straight up instead of watching what's in front of him and trying to pick the rest up to his provisional vision. Okay.
If the ball was thrown, if that kid in the paint made that move and then kicked it out to that far corner, he would not be in position to pick up that shot or that play. He'd be too far closed down. Like I said, his shoulders are not parallel to where he has a better peripheral of what's to his right, not just what's in the paint.
Okay.
I think. Can you hear me, Mark?
I got you.
I might need to get on my laptop. Initially, I see him over in the middle. It looked like he hit the quicksand area, the no man's land. Initially, staying at close down, I think, would have been good to stay at close down right now as the ball's at the top, and trust your trail to get to the left. And then when the ball goes to the right, I may have widened out a little bit more, maybe 12 to 10 feet on the end line, but still deep enough to see up to that play. And then when the ball comes back over, I think I would have still stayed without moving as much, just to trust my trail to come down and pick up the rest of that. in my opinion.
Hey, Mark, I've got a question. You're saying this is a 6A ball game with 2 referees, and we've talked about the level of basketball at this level. These kids are fast.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree? I mean, to have, I mean, to him, I would think, I mean, even to me, I mean, these kids are really moving fast for 2-man operation. Would you agree?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a tournament. So this is a beginning of the year tournament, and these directors don't want to pay for 3, which is tough. But this should be a 3-person game. But that's what happens at the beginning of the season. You know, this tournament, Seguin tournament, and Sachs tournament, they're only willing to pay for 2. So that's a conversation you can have with Marvin. I know it's in the works to go to 3, but that's what it is with these school budgets. I guess they don't want to pay for 3, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I agree with that. But we need to know that going ahead of time. Like, okay, we're going into a 6A ball game. It's funny, me and Kenny just talked about this the other day when they had a really hard game up in Seguin, and it was a 2-person mechanic game. And we don't always like to tell coaches, like, we agree with you, right? Coach, I may have missed that one. But unfortunately, on a 2-person game and a 6A ball game, you're going to miss a lot more, especially for y'all that will end up getting a 3-person. Once you go to a 3-person mechanic, you will not want to go back to 2-person. It's really hard. Just having that extra set of eyes and having center, having the triangle helps a whole lot. But these 2 referees do work 3-person mechanics. So, and I'm going to get into later about when you have, and even 6A JV games, 5A JV games, boys games, they're tough. They're really hard to work. So you have to talk about extending your coverage, and I wanted to get into that in a little bit. We'll talk about that. But as far as this clip, you guys did a good job of breaking it down. I agree with a lot of things, and we'll just try to simplify a lot. Every single one of you said that he's moving too much as lead. I totally agree. We've said at camp many times that we would prefer you to move more than not move at all, which is good when you're first starting out. Becky Marshall said it to camp. She came to camp a few years ago, and she said that I want your newer referees to be moving more than just getting stuck, because then you start to move, you're fighting for open looks, and then we can scale you back, as opposed to like, can you please move? You're not moving, and then you just get stuck, and then you get habits of not wanting to move. But in this situation, the lead is moving obviously way too much, so we want to scale that back. So we want to try to simplify this as best as we can. So I agree with Michael is that, and Ainsley, and a lot of you said that we're under the basket, all right? In 2-person mechanics, you can rotate. A lot of people don't understand it. You can rotate to the strong side. You just got to be aware that when the ball goes up the other side of the floor, that you don't stay on this side. You get back on the opposite side, and then your trail coming up the floor. But if there's 8 players on this side of the floor, you can rotate all the way over, get to strong side, and you can have a T and a lead, trail and lead on the same side. We don't need to do that in this situation. So if he was wanting to rotate, then we'd need to rotate. We don't need to get stuck under the basket. Remember, we're at a gym where the baseline is very tight. There's a lot of middle schools, a lot of more middle schools, some high schools, but most of the middle schools are really tight. So you have to know that going in, or when you get to the gym, all of you, when you get to the gym, understand what you're going into. Okay, the benches are tight, the baselines are tight, the sidelines are tight, all that stuff. Then you've got to work wider and deeper. To somebody's point, you want to widen your view. If you're real tight and you're under the basket and you don't have much depth to work with, right, then you're going to have to work wider. So in this situation, when the ball goes to the top of the key right here, he's right under the basket. And to James's point, we're totally parallel to the play. We want to try to get more of a 45-degree angle at lead. But when this play goes here, now he's moving out. We could be right at close down is fine. You can mirror the ball at the top of the key. I think close down, right where my cursor is, he would be good here. But again, this is not our matchup. Our eyes do not need to be on the basketball. This would be a competitive matchup coming down if we have a screen down here, or even possibly over here. But to people saying we've got 4 eyes on the basketball, we don't need to do that. The ball goes to the strong side. Here's what you guys have to pregame is this 60-40 over here is kind of this gray area where it intersects. You have to then determine how you want to do that. And I talked about it last week is I truly believe, and anyone else can add to this on here, that when you get to the top of the 3-point line over here, lead needs to take that. So lead would have been at close down and probably taken 2 or 3 steps out. They would mirror the ball. This would be their matchup. So the ball's there. See how now lead's too late. And we talked about this, always chasing the play or a step behind the play. Excuse me. We need to anticipate that play. We need to anticipate that ball is being swung to the strong side, and we need to move. He should have moved on the pass. He would probably be right here, and this would be his matchup on the ball. Trail does a good job getting off the ball over here. How hard would it be for lead to referee all the way over here? Not good coverage, right? That's why we always pregame, hey, lead can be more active, refereeing a little higher on the strong side, which would be over here, and then Trail can get off and referee everything off ball over here. See how he's still moving, right? And we've talked a lot on other Zoom meetings. We've heard it from NBA referees. When you're stationary and your eyes are stationary, it's a lot easier to adjudicate plays. If you're moving, kids are moving, it's a lot harder to get plays right. So if we can get to our dependable positions, get there and accept plays, our accuracy will be obviously a lot higher. There's nothing that really happens on this play. It's just pure movement is bad, positioning is bad, and if anything did happen, we wouldn't be in very good position to see it. Now he starts to close on this. Ball goes to the corner, where are our eyes? And everybody on this Zoom meeting could say, oh, he's ball watching. We all do it. I don't care how long you've been refereeing for. It's very easy to get caught up with the basketball. So the ball goes to the corner. We have sets of eyes all the way on the basketball. So we got to be more disciplined. Ball goes away. We need to stay away, okay, and get off it. We're back under the basket again. Now the ball comes to strong side, and then he moves out again. I don't know if this is travel or not. You can't really see because the trail's in the way. But we'd have no idea being able to referee from the ground up because we're right underneath the basket. We need to widen out to help our view here. And then he does. He follows the ball up and down. Got to be more disciplined as far as that. When the ball does come in, we've talked about this on trail, we need to stay on the end line. See how he's already taking off? If there's a quick steal right here, or this kid steps over the line, we're going to have no idea. We're in a rush. Starts to move away from the play and stay on the floor. Should have stayed maybe right here, 4 to 6 feet away from the inbounder. Need to referee this matchup. This is not a problem. This is a problem here. Have my count. And then if we got a hold or anything, we can pick that up. When the ball comes in, now we're actually ahead of the basketball. As you can see, right? Trail means trail. I'm not going to go too much over trail. He needs to get behind the play, and this is in the 1, 2, or 3, could be 3 or C, whatever. We need to be behind. We should be back here. He does start to move a little too late, but he gets there. And then he's okay right here coming up the floor. Don't want to get too much into that, but that's what we got to be more disciplined. Shot goes up, don't follow it. Stay wide. Stay with the shooter up and down, and then don't come on the floor at new trail. Okay, anybody want to add to it?
Hey, Mark, what would you do with that coach that's 3 feet into the court all the way down? You notice that?
Right here. Yeah.
What would you do?
So coming up the floor at trail, right? And he's not on the floor. So he's not on the floor. So that's number one. Yes, if we're talking about his box, he's way too deep. I would just have a conversation coming up the floor with him. Hey, coach, can you stay in your box for me, please? I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't look at him. I still got to referee this play. So I might come up, have my count. Hey, coach, can you do me a favor? Then next dead ball, I'd probably go to, hey, coach. I wouldn't make a big deal about it, right? It's not a big deal. And I'll tell you, they go down 12-0, right? So we got to understand. I understand the coaches, out of their box a little bit, but it's a weird gym. They're not on the floor. That's just a subtle conversation you have. We're not going to stop the game, give them a warning, anything like that. But it's a good point, Mario. We just got to address it. And be subtle about it, right? Hey, coach, do me a favor. You don't have any problems with this coach if you know him. Again, understanding, having some experience with that will help you if you have a relationship with the coach. But yeah, that's just a conversation. Coach, do me a favor. Can you stay in your box for me? Anybody else want to add to it? Kenny, Marvin, Henry?
No, and you can also use your assistants as well in that situation because, hey, help me out.
Yeah, talk to the assistant coach. Yep.
But really good job of breaking it down. Man, y'all are better than some of our people in our 3-persons. A really good job, though. Really good job on that. Let's get into clip 2. It'll come up next. Again, let's watch the lead. I know it's choppy, so I'll show it twice. We'll get in slow. This one's a little shorter. Boom, we got shooting foul. And let's talk about what we're doing on shooting fouls, right? We're switching, but let's just talk about it. That's the things I want to talk about. We can talk about movement. We can talk about primaries. Do we like the whistle? And then kind of what are we supposed to be doing as for mechanically after the foul? Okay, I'll go slow-mo on the drive and when the referee moves after the foul. So here. You can go ahead and take it now if you want. And Kenny, if you mind checking the chats for me, you can handle that, or Henry, either one of y'all. Okay, anybody?
Well, he's watching the shot. He went the wrong way to the table.
Okay.
He went across the paint. He's drifting in the middle. He's not declaring, one side or the other. And those three things, what I saw.
Okay, thanks, James. Anyone else?
Would you think he's still a little out too far? Been in a little closer? I mean, not a little closer, but a little farther down to the basket?
What do you think?
I would think so, yes.
Okay.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
I would have. When the play starts, he's actually looking. Looks like he's looking towards the trail spot where the ball is when it comes in. As soon as the play starts, he's under the basket.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's dead-eye looking either across the – he's not looking at his PCA. He's looking way up there. As the ball comes, he's actually behind the play the whole time because he's backing up as the ball's driving. I probably would have liked him to stay at close down, get a little bit deeper and wider. When the ball's at the top, I probably would have already been backing out before this pass got to the wing. Probably about right, yeah. When the ball's right there, I would have already been at close down because the ball's at the top. Then when I saw that pass coming, I would have been in good shape to at least see through the player that catches the ball and the defender. And basically I would widen out to keep my look or go deeper to keep my look as he drives. And maybe felt a little better. I like the whistle. Might would have felt a little better if it was while he was standing still, not while he was moving when he called it. Just makes it more believable. And I agree with what James said already.
Okay.
I agree with
Josh.
I think he was under the basket because the ball was on the opposite side of him, so he was trying to rotate towards strong side. But I agree with Michael that once the ball is at the top, he needs to be able to read the play and back up a little bit to get back into position because the ball is going to be swinging back towards him. And because he didn't do that, he was late, and it caused him to have to chase the play, and then he was moving as the guy drove, so it wasn't a good look. But I agree with the call. But he should have stood still. He should have gotten in position earlier.
Agreed. Thanks. Anyone got anything different? It's a similar theme, right, that we talked about on the first one. So we've got two plays where the referees finds themselves under the basket. And again, if we're looking to rotate, there has to be a reason why we rotate. In this situation, there's no reason for you to rotate and go strong side when you have competitive matchup here in the paint. There's someone else in the corner. Agree with everybody. Ball on where we got ball watching again. Again, it's not easy. All right. It's not easy to ball watch. It's the biggest difference is ball awareness and ball watching. You have to be aware of the basketball. And again, anticipating plays and understanding, try to be a step ahead so it gets in position. I agree with everybody. When that ball, it should have been at close down right now. Would have been good at close down. Now, if 10 shoots across and 50 shoots across to the block, okay, then you may want to go ahead and rotate because now we've got multiple players over there. There's no way Trell can referee on ball, have a person in the corner, and possibly a matchup on the block, on the block, but that doesn't happen. So I don't particularly like him pinching the paint that far under in this situation because it's just a one-on-one matchup. You have to anticipate a rotation, but I agree with everybody. Just at close down would have been fine. As soon as that ball comes up to the top and is passed, he'd be at close down, would probably take 1 to 2 steps out to everybody's point. Now when the drive comes, he could have stayed wide. He would have been there the whole time. Where he is now, from the beginning of the drive to all the way to the basket, he would have been there. It's a good call. It's the correct call. I really like the cadence. I'm not going to put the sound on, but if you see, there's the foul right there. A lot of referees want to blow on contact. Right away. That's not letting the play finish. Start. This is the develop. It's still going, hasn't finished his shot yet. Still going up. Patience, patience, patience. The ball hits. And then he has a whistle. I really like the cadence on this. We're letting it process, letting the play finish, and then you have it. Now we have it. We got 2 shots. It's fine. I wish you had more communication. I know this referee is very quiet. Tweet, and then we need to, I'm good with the 2-shot signal, and then we need to use our voice. 2 shots, all right? Because if you think about it, if you're at trail and you see the whistle go at the cadence of the whistle, you may have thought it was a rebound foul when 50 got it. We may have had a foul on somebody else when 50's going. So it's always good to communicate with your partner. Hey, we got 2 shots. We do not need to be in a hurry to go to the table. We don't need to worry about the basketball. I don't know why referees love the basketball. I don't need to worry about that, okay? I'm going to wait until Trail comes in, all right? I've got 2 shots. Trail has to be more active. Trail needs to come in, communicate. Hey, I got you. Go ahead. Get to the table. Who's the shooter, right? Those type things. We're having some kind of, hey, let's get them lined up, right? We got to have some kind of communication between the 2 of you. What happens here is lead goes to Trail. Should be the other way around. Let's Trail come in and assist over that. Or Trail can stay right there and watch players. Also, lead needs to come this way. Lead needs to come outside and not walk through the paint. We don't walk through players. We don't go the opposite direction. To your point, we want to keep them boxed in and then come outside, okay? As you can see, I didn't do it. I should have kept going. He ends up going all the way to the Trail, bounces them. They're real close to each other. They don't have the players boxed in. Luckily, nothing's going on, but we got to assume the worst. When players are dead, we have to stay alive, right? Especially with 2 of you. It's easier with 3-person because center would just stay back and kind of observe. But remember, one of you is going to the table. Now you've got 1 referee watching 10 players. So you've got to be able to keep those in your peripheral, right? So I'm okay if Trail stays here or if Trail wants to come in, but we need to have all sets of eyes on players. And then we need to go outside, get to our reporting zone. In that meantime, Trail needs to get everybody ready to go, get the shooter there, get everybody lined up. Because by the time that the calling official has reported and turned around, we should be ready to go. And these guys are just being real kind of lazy about it. They're taking their time. We need to get things moving. I'm not saying be in a rush, but we definitely need to get things moving a little faster. Anybody else want to add to it if I missed anything?
I think also we have to point out, like, if you feel like you're stretching to see something, then your feet should probably be moving. So anytime you feel like you're peeking or your neck's being stretched, time for feet to be moving. Or it's probably a little late, but we want feet moving.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm a leaner, right?
Yeah.
I all the time, I lean to my right, well, then you should be moving, right? Exactly, yeah. If you feel like, I do it a lot. So if you lean, absolutely, you got to move. Good point.
James made a comment earlier about the position of the lead, or being square to the end line. And so in this play, he's nice and at a nice 45-degree angle. I don't know if James, do you referee with your back 90 degrees to the end line?
To the end line? Yeah, I mean, I'm like he is right now. If that's what I'm trying to explain, or trying to figure out what you mean by 90 degrees. In other words, I'm just going to be open, like you guys taught us, right? We need to be opened up. We need to have our peripheral. We need to be able to see to our left, because we're responsible for basically half the court in a 2-man. So you can't turn your back to the paint. You can't turn your back to anything, really. You've got to be opened up all the time, if that's what you're talking about.
Perpendicular to them. Yeah,
perpendicular.
In that he's 45. We should not be perpendicular to that end line.
Okay.
I did want to share this because I know we did it. Hopefully y'all can see it. We did this last 2 weeks ago. Here's the area that I'm talking about on that first clip. I should have showed this. That play kind of originated a little higher up here in this area, kind of. That's when I feel Lee can take this. On that first clip, Lee can take this and Trail can get off it because we had a bunch of players on Trail side. So that's stuff you got to pregame. Like, hey, if we got to drive a one-on-one drive up here and Lead has nothing and everyone else is on Trail side, then Lead can come up. Because I always talk about it. I laugh about it. It's not fair, right? I mean, look at that. How is that fair? Trail's got, because James said half the floor, obviously not, right? Trail has like 75% to a little bit of Lead. So you've got to be a better partner. You got to be way more active at Lead to assist. Because it's just Trail won't be able to referee a lot of plays on the other side of the floor when Lead has a better look. So I just wanted to show that diagram. Okay, let's get into this one. All right, good stuff though, guys. Really good. You guys are breaking down plays really well. All right, let's get to clip 3. Yeah, look and lead. So to James's point, we talked about that. I'm trying to get different clips on different kind of drives to the basket, strong side, weak side, and kickouts and all that. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, so drive from Trail. Just watch Lead, kick to the corner. Made 3, and that's it. What do y'all see on this? And we'll talk about coaching a little bit. Every time I kept watching this, I was like, is this a 3-person game? I kept thinking this coach was a referee at center. So that's obviously an issue that they did not address the whole game. We can't have that coach there, but we'll discuss that later. Anybody want to take it?
I think he's in fairly good position. I think he should stay wider. And even then, because he was driving, I feel like he should have been a little bit wider. But with where he was, I think he had a great look at the shooter. And I do like how he stayed with the shooter and then looked at rebounding action.
Okay.
Mark, I agree. He should have been a little wider. He's got 4 players out there with 2 right there, 3-point line. So should have been a little wider. But, other than that, he's got great positioning, I think.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, because of the dimensions of the floor, because he's so squeezed, he needs to get wider. He can't go deeper, so he's got to get wider. He should already be wider. I'd be a little further out than where he's at, especially with the ball coming in that direction to where you want a good angle going to the basket, and then again, you want to be able to open up and see that 3 line. And he's just a little bit too far in where he really can't see he doesn't have a clear view through the play. In fact, in that position right there, he's kind of lined up a little bit. He's kind of, so a little wider would be better.
Okay. Anybody like his? So everyone, I've heard from the few that talked, everyone would like him to be a little wider. Anybody disagree with that?
I think that in the gym that he's in, if you see how far back he is compared to the wall, I don't think he can get any deeper. I don't mind the wideness. I think when the play was on the left side of the field of the court, if that was me, I would have pinched just because you pause it, you can see that his competitive matchups, if he weren't to pass the ball to the other side, was like 24 or 34 wide in the black guy, the other defense, and then I would have opened up on the pass and came out wider.
Okay.
But he would have missed something in the middle if it would have stayed on the strong side, the far side.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everybody. So I think he's good here because the drive, because again, if this kid curls to the basket and we have a crash or a play at the rim, that's going to be Lead. So I'm okay with the peak here, that the play's coming in. I agree on the pass. When the pass is kicked out, he does need to move just a little bit. I would maybe take 1 step, not a whole lot, because that pass is going to get there. You want to be stationary to be able to then referee the shooter all the way up, down, and the defender. Let's talk quickly about sequence, though. So when this pass is kicked, what is your sequence at Lead? And I'll try to help you. What I mean by that is, are we going to the offensive player, then to the defensive player, then to the 3-point line? Or are you going 3-point line, offensive player, defense? What is the sequence that referees we should be doing on a kick out into your primary?
Should work from the floor up.
Okay, so the floor up. Okay, but what is the sequence though? Because we've got the sequence is 3. You've got defender, you've got offensive player, and you have the 3-point line. We don't have a monitor, so you can't go to the monitor to go see if it's a 3. So those are the sequence. What order are we doing our sequence in?
Are you talking about like when he catches the ball?
Yeah, I'm talking because all right. So here, I'll help you. So this player,
I know what you.
yeah, Michael, you got it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would go. Sequence would be for me at that point was I would make sure he's behind the 3. I'm going from there to the defender because the defender, in this sense, the defender to me is in a closeout position. So I need to see, is he jumping from A to B? Is he going to collide? What is he doing? Like, how is he coming to close out? Once I establish what the defender's doing, I'm going up with the shooter and down with the shooter. And then I'm going from there to base my judgment.
Okay. So thanks, Michael. So Michael is saying 3-point line, defender, offensive player. Anybody have anything different? If you don't, then don't need to hear from you. Anyone have anything different?
I would go shooter. I'll make sure the shooter came up and came back down. Then I would go defender. And I don't know what the third thing is.
3-point line.
I think I'm confused.
Okay, Robbie. So there's 3 parts to this, right? You gotta know if it's a 3-pointer or not, because you don't have a monitor. So if you don't know if it's a 3 or 2, you're going to be in trouble. So one sequence is the 3-point line. Then we've got to referee the defender, and we have to referee the shooter all the way up, all the way down. So what's the sequence on that? Michael said, well, I'm going to the 3-point line first to make sure the kid is behind it or if their toes on the line. Then I'm going to go to the defender to see if they're legal. And then I'm going to go to the shooter up and down.
Oh, okay. I would go 3-point line, the shooter, then the defender. Like, yeah, go 3-point line, then make sure the shooter was able to land, and then the defender.
Okay. So there's 2. So we've got, we'll just go in the group chat real quick. So you just put A or B. A is Michael that said we go 3-point line, defender, offensive player. And then Robbie said 3-point line. This would be B, shooter, defender. Just put A or B, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. All right, so A wins, and A is correct. We want to go to the 3-point line first, which everybody agrees with, because we don't have a monitor. You got to understand, and it happens quick, too. If you go right to the defender, you may miss that. Now, in college, you can do that. You want to go to the defender first. You can go look at that later. But high school, absolutely. You want to go to 3-point line. Then we've got to go referee the defense, okay? Also, what we could have here, if you go to the defender, you could have a legal screen. You could have like 12 come here, and then we have an illegal screen, and you're going to miss it because if you stay on the shooter, it's a quick sequence too. So sequence is 3-point line. Okay, got it. It goes up. I'm going to mark it. I got to get off it. Now I got to go to the defender or this action right here. This is my problem player, the closeout. It's a late closeout. So once that offensive player shoots up and down, I'm good. I need to now go to a defender or possibly a legal screen. And then we want to go shooter all the way up and down. They don't do this. The referee goes immediately to the, you'll see, they immediately go to the ball, go to the shooter, and then they go to the defender. Okay? Does a good job of staying up.
Just kind of said though, because didn't you just said you go 3-point line, then you said shooter goes up and down, then you said defender.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't need to get on it, Rob. You don't need to be on the shooter. You don't need to. If it's a late closeout, we don't need to stay on the shooter. We got to go find the defender first. So it's 3-point line, defender, and then you'll referee the shooter all the way up and down. Because if you have a kick out by the offense, that's what you'll see after you found if the defender is legal or not. So you still have to referee the offensive player up and down because you could. These kids these days, they do a lot of kickouts and those type things, but that's going to be the last sequence of it. Hopefully that makes sense.
So if somebody was on the sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, so someone's on the shooter, right? So I shoot the ball. I'm coming down. There's somebody on the shooter. Because what defender are you talking about? Because right now, you said like maybe there'll be like a legal screen on 12.
Right. Okay. I'll kind of slow it through it. Okay. The ball is being kicked to the corner, right? You see it? So the ball is being kicked to the corner. And then my eyes need to go here. That's where my eyes are going to go after the ball is kicked. And I've understood that the kid is behind the 3-point line. So I've checked 3-point line. Now I have to get off that and referee this. Because I'm saying, what happens if 12 jumps in front and sets an illegal screen on the kid that's trying to close out? If we stay with the shooter, we're going to miss that. We're going to miss that illegal action, okay? Also, my eyes need, and if he gets through this screen, I stay with that defender to make sure there's no A to B movement. Because if he goes up under the shooter and I stay with the shooter, I'm not going to catch that. So that's why I have to go to the defender to get the legality of defender or possibly a legal screen. And then I go to the shooter last, which would be a possible kick out, a player control foul, those type things.
But isn't there somebody on like, isn't there somebody on, like a defender on the shooter?
Not right now.
Well, I guess that's what I'm talking about. Like, say there's a defender on the shooter, right? And then you still have this. So it is that player's already on the shooter, and then you still have 11 and 12 right here, because he's shooting the ball right here, right? So I guess in my mind, I'm thinking you're thinking about. I thought you're talking about like this play right here. Like you have the defender, the shooter, and then the screen. I don't know. I'm confused still. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
So let me give it a shot.
Okay.
So right here we have a closeout. When it's a late closeout, we got to be very aware because they can't stop. They're trying so hard to get there, they can't stop. So we want to make sure. So we have enough time to know that 3-point shot, that's easy. Now the next problem is going to be the closeout, right? A guy coming at that speed or gal coming at that speed, sometimes it's hard to stop. So we have to make sure that they're legal. If we know that they're illegal, easy call if there's contact. If we know that they're legal, easy call if there's contact, because we know then we probably had a kick out. We'll pick up 12. As they're moving, I'm picking up 12 as well, just to make sure that we have a legal screen. This is also a place that the trail can help, right? Because look at the matchups on the other kids, the other players. There's nothing really competitive yet, right? The biggest thing is going to be this 12, so we may need to help. We're looking through. That's why we're trying to get angles, because he may not be able to see it, or maybe he was late. So we just have to be aware that something may happen in his corner that we have to help.
Is this just because it's 2-person mechanic?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was 3-person mechanic?
No. Then Well, that would be the trails, right?
Yeah.
That would be the trails play.
Is the sequence the same?
Yeah,
Because what I'm trying to say is, okay, like I shoot the ball, right? So I shoot the ball, but we're told like you have to make sure the shooter's able to land before you take your eyes off. That's what I've been taught. So I'm like, you shoot the ball, you have to make sure the player's able to land, and then you got to referee defense, because you got to protect the shooter. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't, like the way you guys are describing it, as the shooter still being protective, I'm not making sure he's landing before I take my eyes off.
Well, if you referee the defense, the closeout, that is protecting the shooter.
Correct, but you're saying, but you're saying, I don't know.
No, our only concern about that defender on 12 is to make sure 12 goes through and he's a legal screener. I'm not as concerned once there's no play on once there's no contact on that screen, then I'm refereeing that one all the way.
But let's say 12's not there. Just say 12's not there, right? Just say in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your defender, you have your shooter, and then let's say you have a big down south, right? So my shooter shoots, and then you're refereeing the defense before you make sure the shooter comes down.
Correct, because if I know he's legal, right, and he comes down crazy, I know that was done by the offense. But if I picked up the offense first and I'm not sure about what the defense did was legal or illegal, that's why I would get myself in trouble.
Oh, that makes sense now.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, good questions. Anyone else got questions? And that's, you can't leave here confused. So I appreciate you doing that, Robbie, because I'm sure some other people had similar questions. That's what we want. We want you to ask questions, because if it doesn't make sense, then we want to make sure that everybody leaves here, with the correct information, and then you can implement that into your game. Again, it's not easy. The kick out, the dribble drive kick outs, we immediately go to the basketball. We want to go to the shooter, and we forget about the defender. And it happens a lot. These kids will shoot, come down, just fall to the ground. And then we reward them and put whistles on them because it looks like they got fouled, but we're refereeing the offensive player. We have no idea if that defender did go from A to B, did walk under them, gave them space to land, and they just kind of frail back. If you can understand how kids get to the floor, then it's a lot easier to to explain those to coaches, because that's what's going to happen. How many times does a kid fall into the ground and they're like, he got fouled in that 3-point shot, and then you have an answer like, well, you may make it up, but if you can tell him, coach, I stayed with that shooter, the defender didn't do anything legal, then you can answer that. But if you just stay with the offensive player and have no idea what the defender did, then it's going to get you in trouble. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay.
Hey, Mark, I got a question.
Go ahead. Yeah, Mark.
Last year I did a game with somebody, and the guy went up for a 3-point shot, just like this young man did, and the defender, his feet went under him. Okay, it went under the offensive player, and so the obviously the offensive player had no room to come down. Okay, he's kind of went into his space, so I called a foul, and the coach is, he asked me, how can you call that? I said, Coach, you gotta let him come down. I mean, and I said that just because he's standing there like that other coach was, and I'm on the other side. I said, and he goes, how can you call that? I said, Coach, he's gotta let him come down. Obviously, it didn't make a big thing of it. I'm sorry, but he didn't seem to like my answer, and I thought, I didn't make a big thing of it then. I didn't during the whole game, but I felt that I was really right in telling that, because I feel that, obviously that offensive player has every right to come straight down without being, obviously he could have twisted his ankle. He came down, I thought, awfully hard going backwards. So with that, I didn't think in fact, I did that game. I remember doing that game with James, and we were running up and down like crazy. But I remember doing that game with James, and would that been a decent, okay answer without getting into too much into it?
I'll let someone else take it. I have my opinion on it, but yeah, if someone else want to take it.
You mean somebody else, like the group within the group?
Yeah, anybody. Yeah.
Or Henry.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from Henry. Henry's good with coaches.
He's a master of explaining crazy stuff.
Even when Henry makes a terrible call, he gets his way out of it. I don't know how he does it. And he left us too. I don't know where he went.
He smiles at him.
Is that what he does? He smiles at him. Soupy, what do you think, Soupy? I know you're on here. What response would you want to give a coach? I'm guessing, Mario, you had a whistle on this play, or your partner did?
No, I had a whistle.
Okay, yeah. So you have a whistle, yeah. So that's a good thing, because one, if it's your partner, that's not answer for our partners. But yeah. So I don't know if you can hear Soupy, but what they said is that shooter wasn't protected all the way down. Coach was upset about the call. Yeah. So what did you like the way that he responded, saying that you got to let the shooter land?
You have to be able to quote the rule, and if you quote the rule, the coach can't say nothing back at you.
So what's that quote?
Ask Henry.
A shooter is not finished with his shooting motion until he lands.
I'm even looking at an airborne shooter. Yeah, words I use is you got to protect the shooter, right? Coach, we got to protect the shooter. You could even say, hey, I'm okay if you said that it's a safety play. Like this, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not say, oh, he could have broke his leg or rolled his ankle, nothing like that. But coach, we've got to protect the shooter all the way down, and that didn't happen. I'd leave it as that. And if they get mad, okay, they may just disagree with you. Okay, coach, that's fine, and we move on. For something like that, you shouldn't have a long dialogue with a coach. It's just your opinion. Coach, I didn't believe your defender was illegal and didn't allow that player to land back in his landing space. He's entitled to that space, and leave it like that. Well, I don't agree. Okay, coach. And that's it. I hear you. And that's it. But that probably wouldn't, if you're 100% sure that's not what coach, I may have missed it. I'm not using that one. Agreed, Kenny? I'm not going to use those up and downs. We've got to take, and even I would even caution on the side of, if you weren't 100% sure and they come down and it looks like there was some A to B movement, I think you having a whistle is going to be better than you having a no call. Because we've got to protect, like you said, Mario, dangerous plays. Those are dangerous plays when kids kind of, especially on late closeouts when they can't stop themselves, right? That you gotta protect that shooter all the way up and down. Anybody else want to touch on that?
Yeah, and so I would just talk about vertical plane, that he's allowed to return within his vertical plane. And I think that was a good explanation that you gave. But sometimes being technical, they go, oh man, that dude's been in the book. Then the last thing is, if they call that, if people didn't do that, Kawhi would still be a Spur today. That's my explanation.
I don't like Kawhi. All right, next clip. Here we go. Thanks, Soup, for jumping on too. All right, here we go. So now we got out of bounds play. I don't want to get too much into trail, but something to think about. All the players are on lead side, okay? So you don't have a trail strong side. Obviously, you're opposite. You've got to be active. We can't even see trail in here. I'm definitely going to be stepping onto the floor to assist. Probably 2 steps on would be good. And I'm probably going to be maybe a step below the 28-foot line because all the players are in the paint. So something to think about. You've got to really position yourself on dead balls. There's no excuse because the whistle has blown. We've had a foul or a violation. All the kids are setting up. We have to do the same. We've got to get to positions early on this, okay? So just wanted to touch on that, even though we're not going on trail. But if you see this in a game, you can't be on the sideline, 28-foot line, hanging out, hoping players come to your side. You got to anticipate that you're going to have to assist on this play because Leeds got a lot going on in their primary.
He should probably be close down there to that coach.
What, telling him to get back in his box? I would be okay. I don't know if you can see it because that to me that's too low. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm up for the conversation here. I would be fine if Trell would be in this area right here and you could barely see them, like right. You talking about this coach Marvin or this one? Not this one, right? This one right here. So I think right here would be a good spot for Trell. Anybody agree or disagree? Even though I don't want to touch.
That's good.
Okay, all right. So this coach you're talking about. All right. All right, so let's get into the play. Ball comes in. I'll just go slow-mo in it. Ball is in. I actually want to go game speed on it. All right, here we go. And I want you to listen to the whistles on the cadence of whistles too. That doesn't help. It kind of glitches. Never mind. That failed. All right, here we go. I'll go slow-mo in it, all right? All right, someone talk us through it.
Hey, Mark, can you go over it one more time?
Sure. So I'll give you the actual situation so I can help you, all right? We end up having a double whistle on it. It's more of a tweet. I'm good with the cadence. We have a offensive foul down here, I think on black 12, and Trell has a travel with the kid, black 10 with the basketball. So if you see it right here, this is the play right here, 12 in the corner. Just watch there. So we have a push off, team control foul. So talk us through it mechanically, positionally, right call, wrong call, mechanics are right. What are we doing after the foul, those type things. I will touch on his mechanics. It's not high school mechanics, right? We're not going one. He's got one hand and he's chopping the clock like it's women's college. We need to have one hand up, one chop, and then come in and chop it. All right. We want to count away from the player, which he's doing, but we need to have his right hand up. But y'all know that already.
Mark, should he have handed it to the ball with his other hand so you could be viewing the court a lot better?
You can. It just depends. I'm okay if you want to, like, sometimes we turn, sometimes we open it up. I'm not, as long as you keep players in your view, you're okay. I do this a lot. I'll turn and left, but you got to make sure that you look over your shoulder. He's okay because he's looking at the players. But yeah, we would probably want to hand it with our inside hand, which is all right if we're being real technical. But I wouldn't get too worried about that. It's just don't lose the view of the players. And we are handing them the ball, not bouncing them, because we're staying in the front court.
Mark?
Yep. Hey, Bill.
Hi. If from the first part of this clip, okay, it seemed that there was a very there was holding right from. It brings to your point about where should the trail be. The trail's not even in the picture, okay. And if you take a look, 12 and his defender in white, all right, there's a first push by White coming across, which could be gotten by the trail official.
Mm-hmm.
12 retaliated. There's no doubt in my mind, because the kid in white had his hands on him all the way across, and there's the little extra shove. He went back out of the picture, not seen by the lead official. Trail official could have seen that because, as you pointed out, all 10 players were below the free throw line on one side of the court. And every one of the clips that we've shown tonight, we haven't been able to see the trail official. And they have made that lead maybe work a little bit too harder on some of the comments that were made because they were trying to cover up. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Agreed. All right, so someone talk to us about lead. All right, so I agree with Bill that there was some retaliation. We missed the first illegal act, and we always get the second one, right? That usually typically what happens. Okay, but let's talk about the play, coverage, positioning.
Well, there's a double whistle. They should have came together, and because of where the ball position was when he called the foul, it should have been the trails. Like, it should have given off to the trail if it was in the trail's primary where the ball location was. That's how I would have called it if that was me. I think the lead's position, I think for where the ball's at, I don't think he's in that bad of a position. You can see the big man's open up, so they were to shoot it from out there. He's already ready for the rebound action. He can see through the players. Even when Bill guy said that he had two hands on him, the lead was actually in a good position where if he would have opened up, he would have saw through that and saw the two hands on him, the legal hand action.
Okay, we'll get into. Thanks, Robbie. We're gonna get into that double whistle and all. I've heard it a lot. When double whistles occur, we have to come together. But we'll go over that here in a little bit. Anyone else?
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
Is he going offense? Is he calling on this? I thought he was calling a travel on this player, but he's going with the push from 12 through this legal guard position?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, so it's not really a double whistle, but we have two whistles. It's like a tweet. This is the foul. Lead has this foul, and then Trail has a travel on the perimeter, which he does travel right there. Boom, with his left foot, picks it up prior to releasing the ball. So, but yeah, he has this. This is the push off on 12, and they're looking at two different things, which is good mechanically. Mechanically, we're actually good on this one.
Mark, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, from the look of from our angle, it looks pretty clear. I don't really think Black pushed that much. It looks like more of a flop from White, and I think the league just reacted to that. That's why he blew his whistle, because I don't think he really saw the whole play through. I mean, from this angle, but I'm sure that from where he's at, that's what he saw. But I mean, that's what he had. But from this angle, it doesn't look like he really pushed that much.
Okay, so let's get into that real quick. Let's just do this real easy. A or B again. A would be it's a team control foul. They agree with the call. And B would be what Mike said, is that he kind of catches the tail end and it's not enough. So A is team control foul, and B is a no call. Okay, we got 2 Bs right now. Couple of A's, 2-2. Who's gonna break the tie? Okay, Kenny went. I'm not gonna tell you. Okay, A. Okay, we're at 4-2, 4-3. It's a lot closer. All right, so A, thank you. A wins. Absolutely. This is a team control foul. All right. Now I agree. He does catch the tail end. All right. So let's talk a little bit about mechanically. And it's close to that kind of intersection when the ball comes to up here to Trail, right? But to our point earlier, we're not going to talk too much about Trail because we did last time. If Trail was on the floor, we can't see him, but hopefully he's right here. This would be Trail needs to go there. Trail needs to go. It's Trail's primary. I know it's close to that 60-40 area, but this is Trail's primary. Trail does do a good job of staying on. If you watch Lead, his eyes right now, Lead's eyes on the basketball. Right, so every single clip we've had ball watching going on, which is something that we need to improve on. Obviously, we've got to be more disciplined. Ball goes up top. I can't tell you what Trail is doing, but let's say Trail is looking off. Let's just say Trail is looking down here. Then I could understand why possibly Lee may be looking up there. But then when that ball goes, we need to scan and look at Trail. If Trail opens up, that's giving us nonverbal communication. They're on it. I don't need to be on that, right? That's telling me. And if we trust the system like we're supposed to, Trail should be on this, and then Lead's eyes would go right here. Now they would pick up this, and it would be possibly a step wider, but I still think they're okay. They can see that forearm goes right to the chest. That's illegal, right? That is displacement. That's a push-up. That's illegal. It's clearly getting an advantage where they need to get to, okay? So that I like the call. It's the correct call, but I agree with Mike. I truly believe they catch the tail end, possibly an educated guess, but we get it right. Mechanically, we need to get on that play quicker, okay? Let's talk signals. What do we need to do first? Okay,
Stop
anybody? Right, correct. We got to get our fist up. Boom, right? To your point, Robbie, we did have a tweet, right? So we need to hold first, need to hold and post, okay? And then understand like, oh, now I have an open hand up top. He's so fast on it, he's so quick, right? We need to slow down, process, hold, and then, take our time. Our anxiety is really high. This is what I do all the time, do really fast. Slow down, understand, but the foul comes prior to the travel, clearly, right? Let's look. The foul happens here, right there, and the kid hasn't even put the ball down yet. So clearly we don't need to come together on this and say, hey, what did you have first, this, and this, right? We understand that the foul came prior. Lee should know that the foul came prior. So I would probably hold. I see that my partner's hand goes up. Hey, I got foul first. Team control. Bam. And then I come out. But that's fine. You need to communicate on double whistles, but we don't need to come together and then understand what we got in this situation. Now, if we had a drive that went to the basket and we have a crash, right? And typically it happens more in 3-person because of the same side. But let's just say we have a drive that comes from trail and ends up in the paint, and we have a crash and we have a double whistle. Let's say that outside referee has an open hand and the lead has a closed fist. Well, we know we got something different. Let's say that trail had them travel prior to the crash. Well, then that's when trail, beep, 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 they need to come in. Hey, I have a travel first, travel before the crash, or travel before the foul, whatever it is that because you may not know what they have, right? But we definitely want to get travels before a crash. That's better for the game, and it's the right call because it happened first. So that would be another one where we come in and beep, 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 communicate, hey, partner, I got this first. Same thing here. We can just go beep, and then you look, hey, I got foul first, and then you come out and punch it. Didn't do that, so we need to be more disciplined. Here's another thing we don't need to do. Look what happens. What are we doing? Someone tell me. Walking right through the paint, okay? We don't need to be in a hurry. Also, what does number 10 do? 10 is still playing, right? Going up for a dunk. So what do we, you see that? He's still going to go, he's going to go, he's walking, doesn't even see it, and he's staying on the baseline. I would have a conversation with 10. or I may blow my whistle again. Beep, 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 stop. Worst thing can happen is when your kid goes up for a dunk, what can happen? Maybe 24 is upset, takes him out. Maybe he goes up, hangs on the rim. Now he does a chin up, whatever. If you can get that kid to stop playing with a couple whistles or beep, 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 stop, 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 that's going to help you. If he doesn't, I'm instead of paying, say, hey, 10, let's not do that after the whistle. And they'll, number 10, please stop. When the whistle goes, I need you to stop playing. And I've always told players, hey, I don't want you getting taken out. Right? I don't want you going up there and something crazy happen. I want to take care of you. When the whistle blows, you need to stop. All right, so we don't do a good job on that. And he walks right through the paint. We talked about that earlier. We need to be patient. Just stop. Just stop, process. We need to then clear the players. I would actually let the players clear first. We're going the other way. What are we in a hurry for? We're going the other way. I'm going to be bringing the ball back in on the baseline, right? So just let the players clear, and then you'd probably get up to the three-point line, get in good vision, report your foul, and then take the ball back on the end line. Kenny, Marvin, Henry, you want to add to it? See how we're going right through this.
So with these two guys, I agree with you, Mark, in that we probably not going to have a long conversation. But if it's newer people and it's that close and you're not sure which one came first, might be a good time to communicate. At least shows the coach that, hey, we talked about it. My partner felt like this occurred first. But with more experience, I would say I saw I know my whistle cracked before that player moved because I have him in my peripheral, right? So then I can say, hey, Mark, I had the foul before that travel. But if you're not sure, and if you're not sure which one came first, it's okay to get together in that situation.
Kenny, do you want to in this situation, if that happens, do you want to send kids to benches and talk? How do you want to do that?
You're on mute, Kenny.
Thanks, Ainsley. I can't see him.
You don't have to stand right next to one another. You could just meet, just meet and where you're 6-8 feet, but keeping the players boxed in. Now you can talk to each other. Hey, what'd you have? Or, but keeping players in view. It should be a quick conversation, not a long conversation. Thanks, Anthony, for seeing me talk with my hands.
Any questions on that? Any questions on that clip? Any confusion? Anything we want to add to it? Anything we feel like we missed?
Mark, I'd just like to add that if you're right, if he would have slowed down, I think when he punched it so quickly, the players probably didn't realize what he had called. So if he would have slowed down a bit, or maybe even said something like offense, we're going the other way or something like that, then for the players to understand what's happening, then there seemed like there was some confusion after the whistle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
So
yeah.
Mike, you made a good point in your first comment about where I think the leads in these clips have been too, they're not wide enough. We need to get as wide as the ball, because if you had seen him in his proper position, then that he had a good look. You wouldn't have questioned that. But by his positioning, so if you're questioning, that coach is going to question. How could you see that you were looking over there? Right? So positioning, I just think we need to be as wide as the ball, not outside the three-point arc.
Totally agree. We talk. Go ahead, Marvin.
That's what our mechanic asked us to do in the two-person game, is to be as wide as the ball, but not outside the three-point
line. Correct. Yeah, I looked at it earlier too. I was looking at positions at lead too. Yeah. So yeah, if last week we talked about trail, about getting to our 28-foot line and working, and then at lead, we're just not wide enough. And this is all the films I watch from sub varsity all the way up to it's consistent with the chapter. I think even more so at lead, because you don't have a trail and strong side, you really got to work wider. And a lot of I wanted to use these clips because a lot of the gyms that you guys work in are like this, really tight. So I agree. Yeah, it's positioning is everything. All right, let's get into clip 5. Okay, here, I'll go slow-mo. I'm not going to talk about the coach. Should have dressed him a long time ago, but now it's so, getting deep into the game is tough. We got to take care of that, all those stuff outside of the court early. But what we got on this, okay? Let's talk a little bit positioning. Let's talk about the call, and let's talk about his presentation to the table. Those are kind of the three things I want to touch on. There's more, but I think those are the most important things: positioning, the actual call itself, and then our table presentation.
Well, mechanically, unless I'm seeing it wrong, he's signaling a player control foul, right? When it's a defensive foul, or am I wrong?
Yeah, he's signaling here, and he's actually going team control. It's kind of like a NBA
Like a team,
score it.
yeah, like a team control. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good look. Yep. That's absolutely James. So that's mechanically we're wrong. Okay. What else?
Do we have a teammate there hanging on a rim? That's quite another big question. That one I've already experienced, and that one looks like it's an unnecessary hanging on a rim. That looks like a technical.
Okay.
I agree, James.
Okay. Anybody got anything different? So James has incorrect scoring the basket. We should be scoring it with 2 fingers. Right. Boom. Score it with 2 instead of a punch, because that mechanically is incorrect. That signal is saying a team control foul, which we're not going to score a basket on. But he's actually having a foul on the defense. So that's definitely. And then we have a hanging on the rim. So we have a technical foul there. Anybody disagree or want to add to it?
I would say he needs to get a little bit closer to the table and stop and then report instead of report while he's walking, because even still, I'm not sure what he's calling. And if I'm working the table, I probably really can't tell.
Thanks, Ainsley. Totally agree. I understand in Texas we can walk and talk. I'm a big believer, and I think Henry and Marvin and Kenny are too, that we want to get in good habits and just jog to your reporting zone and then get there a little quicker. If you are going to walk, which I highly recommend you don't, it better be a brisk walk. This isn't very brisk, right? It's taking way too long to get there. I agree with Ainsley. I would like that we jog, get to your spot, get to your reporting zone, and report. I agree. Been back here, especially that table crew, we may get a horn here in a little bit. Who was the foul on? Did the ball go in? Right, things like this. We got to have really clear, precise at the table, your table presentation, so you don't fall into those. So Ainsley, good points. Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. The one, he does not move with a sense of purpose when he comes out there. A nice little pep in the step to do that. And I'm a proponent of going ahead and stopping, giving you a signal instead of walking and talking, even though they allow us to do that. I just think it creates a better presence and attention to detail if you hustle on over, put a pep in your step, come to a stop, do your signal, particularly if you stop where you're just going to turn around and referees the trail anyway.
Agreed.
Hey, Mark,
thanks, Marvin. Yeah, go ahead, Marvin.
What would be the sequence if, obviously, you call that foul there, and what would be the sequence if you call that foul and then call that technical for that young man hanging on the rim? What would be the sequence of shots?
I'm not going to say it, but who wants to take it? Who wants to take that?
It's the order that they occur. So it would be the shooting foul, then the technical, then you start it at the division line.
Okay, so we'll go, you're saying in the order, so we'd shoot the one shot, no one lined up, right? And then what are we doing?
We're shooting the shooting foul, and then we're shooting the technical.
Okay, anybody disagree? Okay, so we're talking about basket
What team
interference.
is the foul on again?
Do what now, Josh?
What team is the foul on again?
So the first foul is on the white team. They have an M1. So we have an M1 defensive foul, and then we have Black, the kid for the same team, hangs on the rim. So we're saying that we have a common foul, shooting foul, M1, and then we have a technical foul in Black. We're asking how are we going to resume play?
I would assume it is, in this case, the order that they occur. So you shoot the foul, and then you shoot the technicals.
Right. And I agree with everybody, but be a little more specific on how we're doing that.
You would you
Hey,
shoot
Mark,
the
we got
you
a
shoot the
question
shooting
about
foul.
basket interference. Can you go back and show it again?
Yeah, I will, but it's well, okay, I can. I don't want to give my opinion away. Okay, let's see. So, oh, my bad. So we're saying basket interference. All right, so here. Okay, so who has basket interference? No basket, and we'd end up shooting 2 shots on this instead of 1. We'll go A and B. A is basket interference. We're not going to score that basket and shoot 2 shots. Or B would be you're going to score it, and we're going to have 1 shot. Go for it. We got 2 Bs, and then people don't know. Again, A is basket interference. B is no basket interference. If you look in the definition of it, when would it be considered basket interference? Let's just go there. If the ball's still what?
Around the cylinder or like.
Okay. What about in the net?
Yeah, or in the net. But the ball seems to be all the way through. I just didn't know what the rule was on that. I thought maybe the rule was any contact with that rim or net when a teammate shoots the ball, even if it goes through. But I don't know the rule. That's why I put UG on the
I saw that, yeah. Yeah, so it's definition section number 6, basket interference. So basket interference occurs when when a player touches the ball any part of the basket, including the net, while the ball is on or within either basket, touches the ball when any part of the ball is within the imaginary cylinder. And then it says if a player has his or her illegally in contact with the ball, is not a violation. That's not it. Touches the ball outside of the cylinder while reaching through the basket from below, pulls down a movable ring so that the contact before the ring returns to the original position. So it's none of those, right? So the ball had already gone through on this one, so it was good. If the ball was on a cylinder or still in the net and he hung on the rim, then you would have it. But it's a good discussion to have. But in this situation, we don't. As far as the sequence is, right, so we would have no one lines up. You go in the order in high school, like everybody said. So that number 10 would shoot his 1 shot, no on the line. Anybody from white would go down the other end. Nobody on the line, shoot 2 shots. White team would get the ball opposite table and division line, and make sure that we're giving a technical foul. We're giving team fouls too. A lot of people miss that. They go over, give the technical foul. This would be to, I think, black 32, give them a team foul as well. So many times we end up missing, not putting the team foul in though. But yeah, I agree, Mike. Good stuff on this.
So
go ahead.
can I ask a question? So in a case in which there was a technical foul and then a common foul, and if that ever happens, my fault. So you go in an order that happened?
Always in the order. In high school, it's the order no matter what. And then depending what happens last will be then you go to determine the resumption of play, how you will resume play. Because you could have like technical foul, and then you have another technical foul. You could end up having like white could have 3 technical fouls, and then black has the last technical foul. Well, black had the last technical foul, so white's gonna get the ball back.
So if black had the first technical foul and then white had a common foul, then you shoot the technical foul, and then black would shoot for the common foul for the shooting foul, and black would get the ball back.
Well, not on a technical foul.
Okay.
You're talking, yeah.
So I'm talking like if there was a technical foul and then a shooting foul. If that ever happens, it's just.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when that would happen, because when you have a technical foul, the play's dead, right?
Play. Yeah. So if there was 3 technical fouls, 2 on white and 1 on black, then black would shoot technicals last, and then they get the ball back because it happened in that order.
Yeah. So if you had 3 separate acts, you have a technical foul. Say white 32 has a technical foul, and then we have another one on white 15, and then the last one is on black 15. You would shoot 2, 2, and 2 in that order. No one on the free throw line. Anybody could shoot any of them. The last team that offended in this situation, black had the last technical foul. So if black had the last one, then white would have the basketball to start. So you go in the order. If you can't offset any of them. If you got to go to point, if you have a double, then we're going point interruption. But these are all separate acts.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go. I agree with everybody what they're saying. Again, we've done a really good job of breaking down things. What I did want to talk about is really having a patient whistle at lead. I think lead's okay. Lead could definitely be a little bit wider. They obviously go with the flight of the ball. We talked about that. There's not a whole lot of contact on this play, right? And he kind of blows on contact. We really want to have these plays finished. Like, and it'll happen to a lot of you early in your career. It's when you like, if I'd have just waited a second, just waited 1 second. There's nothing wrong with coming in with a late whistle. But when we blow on contact, we kind of get in trouble, right? So on that one, we just got to be a little more patient on it. Mechanically, it's not a good job. We need to stay there. I agree. Trell needs to be more active. Trell doesn't like the call. Trell puts the head down, doesn't really like it. Trell needs to run in, and we need to wham. We need to give technical foul. Trell's too concerned. I don't like the calls. They put their head down. I don't like it. But we need to be an active referee. When the whistle blows, we've got to be a good partner. We've got to be active. We miss a technical foul with a kid hanging on the rim. Don't even have a conversation with him. Even if you don't give a technical foul, right? Hey, 32, please don't do that after, because he may have just not even known that he did it, right? Or it could have said safety, someone underneath. I believe it's technical foul, but if you deem it not to be, we need to address that. 32, stay off the rim.
Well,
Oh yeah, yeah, yes sir. Something like that. Okay. Presentation needs to be better at the table. I agree. We talked to that too. Guys did a really good job of breaking down stuff tonight. I didn't even really have to add a whole lot, nor did Kenny or Marvin or Henry. So that's really good stuff. That was our last clip. I don't want to go over one more. Any questions? Anybody got any questions? We're done on that. We're right at 8 o'clock.
You guys did a great job. I'm telling you, this is more fun than the 3-man.
Tell me about it. Jeez.
Thank you.
We shouldn't say that out loud, but yeah, it's just, I appreciate you guys hopping on, and here they're just like, seems to be no pressure with you guys. You guys are just, don't care if you sound wrong. You just want to put yourself out there, and that helps dialogue, because if you don't, then you kind of hold stuff back and then you don't get anything out of it. So I appreciate, Robbie, I really appreciate, I know you probably had a soccer game or something, but I really appreciate you jumping on and starting conversations. It helps. I like the way you guys are thinking. I like the way you're breaking down film. I can see all the things you've been doing during this time is helping you. I just can't wait to see you guys on the floor. I'm glad Marvin and Henry are on. This only helps you guys. I'm telling you, it helps you that you're invested in yourselves. And I know you're gonna excel when you get back on the floor. And I know that Marvin and Henry are definitely gonna take care of you guys as well. Okay. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, as a trainer and part of the program for 32 years, I was really impressed tonight. You guys are doing a great job out there. It's going to make it easier every game, every passing game. Just take your rule books, read chapter 4, and then go from there. It was a pleasure to be on tonight. Thank you.
I agree. Thanks, Bill. Yeah. Sorry, I should have mentioned Bill too.
This is one of the better sessions we've had, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And I challenge you guys, like I said early, to get others on, right? And I'll record it, put it on YouTube to send you guys if you want to take some notes or whatever. But the theme is positioning, right? That's it. I can tell you, if you guys can get in position, understand positionings, right? You're going to make mistakes every once in a while, but if you can get yourself in dependable positions and move accordingly, which it sounds like everybody's on the same page with that, your accuracy is just going to be so much higher. We can't help you with your judgment. I mean, we can't help you, but we're not inside your bodies, right? But it's going to help you with your judgment if you get in position. That's the first one. So I'm excited to see you guys get back on the floor, hopefully soon. Again, any questions, reach out to any of us. And 2 weeks, we'll be back on. If some of you are on DDR, the classroom stuff is pretty cool. If you haven't done it, you've got till the end of the week. But if you need any help with that, let me know. And for you guys that are not on DDR, I definitely would recommend you hit me up. I can get you signed up. All right. Again, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you guys soon.